Welcome, amazing middle school math teachers. My name is Omar Sotelo. I am the interim program manager for academic standards, and I will be your guide on ways to prep hybrid lesson plans for the partial reopening of our school buildings. In this video, I will cover the hybrid plan so you will understand which students you will see in person, synchronously, and when students will be asynchronous. I will also cover a sample hybrid lesson template that the curriculum department created to help you visualize what type of planning may occur. I will also cover an example hybrid lesson plan so you will see how the different parts of the lesson connect to each other and to your students. Let's start with what your schedule might look like and when and how you will see your students and when they will be working asynchronously. Please note that some site schedules may vary depending on needs of the site and number of periods in the day. As you can see from the chart, each period is broken up over 2 days: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. This means you see each period twice over the 2 days, but with different sets of students. Let's take a look at period 1, for example. On Monday, period 1 in red, you are seeing the students whose family opted for the hybrid in-class learning. On Tuesday, period 1 in orange, you are seeing the students whose family opted to continue online learning. Both sets of students will receive the same lesson, but the delivery will be modified due to the different environments. On Wednesday, you will see the whole class combined for period 1. For period 1 students in either red or orange, when you do not see them, they are on asynchronous time. So what does this all look like in a lesson plan? Let's first look at our template. The sample hybrid lesson template is broken into 3 sections. The first section is called the summary section. This area includes standards and objectives, support materials, and formative assessments. The purpose of standards and objectives is to keep the lesson focused and coherent. The purpose of support materials is to support the teacher on what needs to be ready for a successful lesson. The purpose of the formative assessment is to provide the ladder for the backwards planning that will guide students to demonstrate proficiency/mastery on any given standard. The next section is called the Synchronous Teaching section, which is broken into 2 parts: in-person/remote days, and Wednesday, all students synchronously. In part 1, you will see a color-coded schedule, which you can modify if needed. You will also see a repeat of the lesson objectives and possibly some essential questions to help guide discussions. The blank white spaces is where the general parts of the lesson will go: openers, bell works, instruction, practice, closures, extensions. In part 2, you will find Wednesday. This part will also repeat the lesson objective or have a new one depending on the outcome of the class. In the white section, you will notice there are a variety of choices. You have activities to continue new learning, community building, or class assessments. This is a short day, so the teacher will need to focus on what is best based on what the culture of the class is. 1 or more 3 choices can occur if planning accordingly. The teacher may also have asynchronous extension and/or prep for the coming days. The last section is called the asynchronous section. This section is designed as a learning board to be utilized as either a prep/flipped classroom and/or an extension of an in-class/synchronous learning. Educators should have expectations for the students when working with a learning board, as shown in the title. A learning board has 5 boards. The first board is videos to support this week's lesson. Videos in this section could differ from videos provided in the TUSD platform. If used as a flipped classroom learning, students will be able to come to class with prior knowledge of the procedural steps and vocabulary, so the in-class synchronous instruction can be presented with more depth. If used as an extension, students can compare and contrast algorithms or methods which could be used as learning into the DOK level 2 and 3. The next board, independent practice using platform apps, could focus on student self-learning. Platform apps come with a variety of instructional lessons and variety item types for skill practice. If used as a prep flip classroom learning, students can come to class with questions to enhance the classroom's discussion. If used as an extension, students will be exposed to the various item types in practice to challenge their thinking process. The next board, activities, projects, and extensions. This section could be utilized to allow multiple response types and thinking. If used as a prep flip classroom, students could have the opportunity to view content through their own cultural lens, unfiltered, which will allow for more in-depth discussion with classmates and teachers. If used as an extension, students will be able to express their learning through their cultural understanding of the content. Other sources for independent practice is a section that could differ from the platform apps. Additional sources could be found in the TUSD curriculum apps. Whether used in the prep, flip classroom, or extension, utilizing other sources in this board for independent practice brings a break from the platform apps and adds to the opportunity to meet various learning types. The last board is a self-check/formative assessment board. This section could be utilized to provide data based on pre, post formative assessments, summative assessments, or student self-assessment. Assessments could vary week to week depending on pace, time, needed data for guided instruction. Let's now look at an example lesson plan. The focus of this lesson plan will be grade 6 math. In the summary section, I followed the TUSD scope and sequence and chose 2 second quarter number sense standards to focus on division. By narrowing in on division, I can ensure focus of the lesson can be differentiated all week to meet the multiple learning types in all 3 formats of in-class synchronous and asynchronous learning. I use the Eureka Navigator found in the Eureka InSync app to support with standards and objectives. The Eureka Navigator was also used to support with textbook and video support for student preparation. It also was used to find PD videos to help my preparation in seeing what this lesson could look like. Holt was also included in the support materials as lists for differentiated activities, which I will use in section 2. The Eureka Navigator also helped me find assessments to help me plan for backwards planning. Back in the support materials for students, I listed Apex and IXL to remind myself to set up these platforms to be utilized for asynchronous learning. In the synchronous teaching section, I focused on discussion activities to guide instruction. With the change of bringing back students to the building and students being split up into smaller class sizes, I wanted the lesson to have a personal feel where voices could be heard. In part 1, the lesson on both days starts with a connector into the lesson instruction. On Monday, Tuesday, the class will go through a Holt activity where the students could use mental math to go on a shopping spree to see if they can spend $2,000 without going over. This can be done individually or in pairs, but what is important is that a fast time limit is given, so mental math of estimation is utilized and referred to in the discussion. On Thursday, Friday, the students will do an estimation problem, 70,072 divided by 19, that will lead into a lesson that covers division by place value. The lesson on these then move to the Eureka InSync facilitation guide, which is a PowerPoint presentation that guides the students through multiple questions. If the teacher already uses MPP for their discussions, they can use this guided method as well. The lesson then moves to classroom exercises in Eureka. I wanted to limit these to 1 to 5 questions to keep the focus on discussion and collaboration, and keep the questions on the why and not just the what. Again, these activities can be done individually in pairs and are found in both the InSync app and the Eureka textbook. The lesson closes on these days utilizing the Eureka closures. These closures focus on students' own words to provide self-assessments and informal data for the teacher to guide the next lesson. Part 2, the Wednesday class, is set up to cover all 3 options. The class will first have a discussion on what is division. This question is found in the asynchronous section and holds the student accountable for asynchronous discussion posts. Next, the students will move to the Eureka exit ticket, which can serve as additional practice for a formative assessment. Wednesday closes with an asynchronous extension assignment that sets up the Thursday-Friday lesson. This should be started in class to ensure all students have an understanding. In the last section, the asynchronous section, I chose to utilize independent practice and activity projects and extension as the primary focus and requirements for asynchronous learning. This is noted in my title page. For the independent practice, students have a choice between working in the InSync app, looking at the video and connecting it with IXL, or working in the Apex app. These practices will serve to build prior knowledge or offer an alternative lesson to solidify learning. Activities, projects, and extensions serves as the discussion builder in teams that leads into discussion on Wednesday and the Thursday-Friday class. Other boards will be encouraged to complete, but only as additional intervention practice or support of an IEP. In the video to support this week's lesson, I chose Khan Academy because students are used to this type of format and it provides additional practice. In the other sources for additional practice, for independent practice, I chose Math is Fun webpage. It has easy to read notes and additional practices. Just note that a teacher could decide to replace the videos or other sources as the requirement if the teacher feels these boards fit the lesson. The self-check and formative assessment board is here as an alternative option to any of the activities or practices to serve as a pre or post assessment. As mentioned in the template, assessments could vary week to week depending on pace, time, needed data to guide instruction. I thank you for joining me this evening. Again, my name is Omar Sotelo, and I can be reached at omar.sotelo@tusd1.org. Also a reminder that our curriculum department offers office hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2:30 to 5 p.m. The meeting ID is included. Also, Dr. Flora Husett sends out a reminder email every Wednesday and Thursday of these office hours. I also encourage you to go to Clever and look up our TUSD Academic Platform Support icon. This will lead you to our SharePoint webpage where you can find additional support on all the apps provided by TUSD Curriculum Department. Thank you for all that you do, and we'll see you soon.